Hey, good evening. This is Brian from Exposeco. I'm here with my co-host Paul. How's it going tonight, Paul?
It's going great. Excited to be here.
Nice. Okay. Well, we're back at it and we're back working with a new topic tonight. We're going to be talking about value and how does Exposeco bring value to a customer, especially when they're going to make a big purchase. How does it make sense for a customer to spend more money in order to save money or to have any benefit from it? That kind of seems counterintuitive. So let's dive into it tonight.
Yeah, I think it's in some ways people think of why do I need to have the help when I have representatives from these different organizations coming out to help me through this process. And what happens is we really exist because we don't necessarily trust the process. We don't trust the contractors. We don't trust the salesmen because salesmen are salesmen. They're there to make a buck. So the reason why we developed Exposeco is to protect the consumer and to have the consumer's interest at heart without having any type of financial or any type of ties to the contractor. That's the difference between Exposeco and these other companies like Yelp or Angie's or any of these other services that say, hey, let us help you find a good contractor. We'll find you 5 contractors, 4 contractors. All those companies, they are getting paid from the contractor. So their best interest is the contractors making sure that they get paid from them. And the difference is with us is we don't collect any money. We will never accept money from a contractor. We only get paid from you, the consumer. So in the end, we want to make sure that your needs are met and we're not looking out for the contractor's best interest. We're looking out for the consumer's best interest. With our 20 plus years of experience in the industry, we know exactly what people need, what people don't need. So it's not just overpaying for what you're getting. A lot of people are oversold. So they're buying bells and whistles that they'll never use. They'll never even know what they do. And it's kind of like when you're buying a brand new car, they have this coating that you put on the car, right? And they say, oh, yeah, it's a paint protectant. It's $1,900. It just comes with the car. It's an add-on feature. Really, what that is, all it is a spray that they go around and they spray the car, and it's literally you just spray it on. It's not like some special type of gun that they use, a heat gun or something like crazy process. It's literally out of a spray bottle, and they're charging $1,900 to the consumer and saying that it's protecting your paint. Brian, did you ever have this experience? I think you lived across seas and you had a paint issue with your car, and didn't you have a protectant, right?
Well, I think that the salesman was adamant since we were in a saltwater climate, because I lived in Guam as for part of my life and I bought a new car on the island. They were adamant that I bought, it's actually an electronic vibrating like device that goes in the engine compartment that protects it with electrodes so that, there's no rust.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they were super insistent, and the young ignorant man that I was, I went for it. I paid I think $1,000 for this little device, only to bring it back to the United States and have people laugh at me, because it's so obvious a fraud. But I wasn't aware, so I literally spent $1,000 on something that did nothing for my car. More less than nothing actually. It drained my battery, so I think I had to replace my battery sooner than I normally would have because it was always this little device running. So no
Yeah,
research, but
I-
yeah.
interesting. I had thought it was like a spray, but maybe I was wrong a little bit. But it just goes to show you that those examples are real. I mean, these dealerships or other type of industries, they have their own kind of quirks that basically car salesmen would know what that is, and they would opt to never buy that. Or a mechanic from the car dealership or whoever's the one that is facilitating this stuff in order for them to offer those features to help sell the car. Now, what we know is heating and air conditioning and contracting. Since we've been in it for so long, we understand the dirty little secrets that these guys have and they use to their advantage in order to charge you more than others by building value in their proposition. So when they're coming into your house, their job is to make their company, their service, and their offerings sound better than everybody else's. And it's an easy thing to do when you're a really skilled salesperson. And a lot of times when you're a skilled salesperson, you're not actually really providing much more. You're just delivering the message more clearly, and you're communicating better. And that's what makes people feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy. In the end, they're really not getting much more out of that salesperson. They're just understanding what they're getting a little bit more. Having Exposeco is what we do is we read between the lines. So you may have a really, really good contractor that just can't communicate very well, but is providing the same service as the guy that can communicate really, really well, that's charging you 20 to 30% more than the other guy. And what we do is we review all that, and we will tell you who is giving you the most value for the money. So you may be overspending by 20, 30, 40, 50% by not having our service, and also maybe buying something that you actually don't need. So what we do is we are here to analyze your guys's proposals. We're here to analyze what the contractors are offering and looking at it with a trained eye, something that we've been doing for years and years and years. And we're making it so you can just sit back, relax, and take the hands off the wheel and allow us to come back and be able to give you our scorecard and be able to give you our full analysis of exactly what you actually need, and then also who's providing the best bang for the buck. In order for you to feel confident in your purchase, there's nothing worse than making a significant purchase like this and feeling uneasy about it. I mean, these systems can cost you 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 depending upon the situation. And if you really don't understand the industry and you don't understand what you're getting yourself into, why not fraction of the cost of the project, have a trained eye, be looking over your shoulder, knowing and having your back, knowing what's going on, knowing exactly what you should and should not buy. It's pretty much guaranteed you will save more by hiring us than you'll pay in fees.
That's so rich. I love that. When you think about it, and I can't stop thinking about this analogy, when you go to like a restaurant, let's say it's Applebee's, not a very good restaurant in my opinion. Let's choose Chili's, a little better. Not even that good either. But you go there and you order a steak. Like consumers understand what they're getting when they order, let's say, a New York strip steak or a T-bone. They know there's a different quality between those two meats. And so they're willing to pay, let's say, a little bit more for a filet mignon or for a prime rib or a ribeye. There's variations in terms of the quality of what they're going to get. A lot of times people go to a restaurant and the plates are already like set in the menu. Let's say they're going to order a steak. It's coming with mashed potatoes. It's coming with corn. It's coming with a salad. Something like that. But people are aware of the fact that they can change some of those things and they could actually order something different if it doesn't suit them. I don't want corn, I'd rather have fries. They realize they have power, and they're aware of that power, and they're aware of how to use that power. They're aware of what they can expect when they order their steak medium rare, and if they don't get that, they can hold that restaurant accountable for giving them what they've ordered and make sure that they get what they've asked. People aren't aware, though, in terms of heating and air conditioning, let's just say that industry, about the variation of heating and air conditioning units, filtration, just all the different areas which you can actually customize that suits you. Imagine you go to a restaurant and you're like, all I want is a steak. I don't really want corn and all that mashed potatoes and stuff. And then the restaurant owner said, well, I'll just charge you for the steak. That's all. Since that's all you want, like I'm not going to charge you for the whole plate, which will cost twice as much. Like people don't realize that, well, you can do that in heating and air conditioning. You can say, I actually don't want all of these side things that you've tacked on, which you are just making it seem like are part of this purchasing process. I just need the heater, or I just need the air conditioner, or I just need a new duct work. Not all that comes with it. So tell me about that value too. How much of contracting will wrap in things that are just completely superfluous because the customer's not aware?
There's many different ways that they can play it, and sometimes what they're doing is they're just listing out every little screw and little accessory that has to go into installing the piece of equipment to bring the value to the purchase, right? And those things are necessary, right? But for example, a line item on proposal saying a pigtail. Well, what that is an industry term for a plug. So a furnace needs to have a plug in order to plug into the wall, so it will actually, or plug into the outlet so it actually will have power. And, it's just a play on words, right? So yeah, no, our trained eye is here to be able to tell you, if you want to not necessarily have the hospital grade filtration or the surge protection or these other items that can be commonly, lumped into their proposal, where it's adding money, but they're really using it as a sales tactic to scare tactic you into saying, look, these other guys are not offering you this. I don't know why they're not giving you the system protections that you need. And they're using strong language to close you, to make it so that you're purchasing based on an emotion, and it's not out of facts. So what we do at Exposeco is we take the emotion out of the purchase. We make sure that you're not emotional about your purchase. Your purchase is grounded based on facts and knowledge. When your purchase is based on facts and knowledge, then you're not making an emotional purchase. You're not overspending, and you can be confident in that purchase. It's a wise purchase at that point. You hire us, what we're doing is really taking the emotions out of anything that has to do with the purchase. So I think that's super valuable, because people that make emotional purchases a lot of times don't make wise purchases. And same thing with, car buying or any other type of industry. It's a lot of money to be making an emotional purchase and not having the knowledge. And it can be really daunting to try to do the research to gain the knowledge. I mean, you can spend hours and hours and hours doing the research, and you're not going to have the industry knowledge of somebody that's been in it for 20 years, that was on the side of selling you systems and understanding the secrets of the other side of things. I was that guy. I was the guy that was in your house. I was the guy that had the perfect language, that was able to work you into a system based on how to create the value and the proposal and everything. And it's just, it's common sales tactics, just industry specific. And being the salesperson now on the consumer side, I can read through those lines. I can read through basically all the garbage, and we can really get down to the facts of who is going to provide the best service for the cost. And even after that, we can even negotiate it for you, because we know what these things cost, what these guys can do, who's overcharging. And it's funny because people will make promises. They'll go, we're going to give you a 10-year labor warranty, or we're going to give you a no surprise guarantee, something like that. And we have the knowledge to say, well, you know what? Jim over here, who wants us to represent him, he just told us he's not going to be living in that house for more than 2 years. So we don't care about the 10-year labor warranty. Let's move it to 2 years. And how about you give us a discount for that? And that's the type of knowledge that you're going to get from us, is we're going to be looking over and making sure that what this person is selling you is actually fitting your needs, and it's not overselling you. And when we tell them to take that stuff away, we're not going to tell them to take it away for free. We're going to expect a credit for that. So right there, I mean, going from a 10-year warranty to a 2-year warranty, if you're moving in 2 years, that could be thousands of dollars right there. That's just one small example of a savings that we can bring to the table, just based on having knowledge that a consumer wouldn't have, or consumer wouldn't think of. And that's a pretty simple one. There's a lot more complex ones that can be hidden in that proposal as well.
You're not talking about small amount of money here. Every line item that they're going to add, even from surge protection, you think, I can get a surge protector for $10. When the contractor puts that surge protection on that line item, it's not going to appear at $10. And that's because they write that stuff in and they make it seem like it's special. And maybe it is a little bit special, but it's not that special. So that's where you do need a trained eye. It reminds me, from a consumer's perspective, how few people really care about whether or not they have a Goodman or a Carrier unit or a Train. It's not like cars. People are really amped about the kind of cars that they drive. They want to drive like a Tesla, or they want to drive a Jeep, whatever. They're very brand loyal. People usually are, like either Ford or the Chevy, right? But when it comes to their air conditioning unit, I think most people, just your everyday people, want it to work well and want it to do the thing that they need it to do. And that's where Like the average everyday person, and even a salesperson, I would suggest, isn't going to even be able to discern that. What is that? And the salesperson can be trusted to do that because they don't have the homeowner's best interest at heart. It's just the fact of the matter. We would like it to be different. If we lived in a utopia, it would be different, but we don't. And
Yep.
so people need, if they even want to have the thing that they desire, which is something that just simply works for them, then they really do need a person like us to back them up and represent them in this.
For sure. There is, just like the example that you said, people buy brands of cars because it's a lot more of an emotional purchase because, cars are sexy, right? The purchase is desirable. You're going to be driving it around a lot. People are a lot more in the know with cars. Even people that aren't into cars still are in the know about cars a little bit. With air conditioners, people don't even know the main brands. Like, people don't know what Carrier is or don't know what Train is. And those are the most well-known brands that have existed for a really long time. And contractors, they are able to extort that. Basically, they take and they buy these really inexpensive units, these Chinese inexpensive units, which actually some of them actually do, they work pretty well. You get a lot of value out of it, but they brand them with their name on it, and they basically white label it. So what that is they take it from the factory, they take the stickers off of it, all the factory branding, and then they'll slap their own sticker on it and they'll label it and brand it as their company brand. And what they're doing, and then they sell it for the same price as what the national brands. It's like basically having a BMW come out of the factory and sit on the lot, and then you go to a dealership and you are buying a CarMax branded car. And what they did is they just took a Ford, ripped off the logos, and made it a CarMax branded car. And they said, this car is faster than this BMW. It's quieter, gets better gas mileage, and we're gonna give you a 10-year warranty on it. Now, you would know that as a consumer, you'd be like, yeah, but this is kind of, this is not the same. It's not the same as BMW. I know these BMWs are German made, they're fantastic, and people would be able to see through that. But with air conditioners, they would have no clue. They have no clue. A significant amount of consumers, without doing any research, definitely don't have a clue on what the main manufacturers are and whether it's a good thing to buy from them or not. I mean, that's why we're here, is we're able to vet that. I mean, we're not saying that you have to buy from the big name manufacturers, but if somebody's not providing you a big name manufacturer, you shouldn't be paying a big name manufacturer price. And that's what we're here for, is to be able to say, hey, look, that's cool that you have a white label unit. I know what unit that actually is. I know what factory that comes from. And I know the reputation that that factory has because I've been in this industry for a really long time and I've seen all these different units operate. I know where you purchase them and personally have worked on them before. So with that experience behind your purchase, we can say, hey, I know that this unit costs 50% less than these main manufacturers. Let's make sure that this price is in line with that. You're not white labeling it and overcharging to make a bunch of extra money on our customer, because that's not okay. That's not the way we work. We're gonna make sure that you're protected and you're not overpaying for that stuff. So I mean, look, there's a lot of value that comes out of some of those units. You don't necessarily have to buy the big manufacturers too. But
That's a good reminder. Yeah, if someone, well, you noted like people care about the cars because they're sexy or people see them in them, right? And so it becomes part of their identity. How would consumers feel, I wonder, if they paid for, let's say they paid for like a Corvette, like a high dollar performance vehicle from Chevrolet. Like, let's say they paid for that, but actually what they got was like a Corolla, like that, effectively the value of a Corolla. Like, they paid for something really high end, but because they were not aware of the differences between the two, they got the lesser. I think that that's the danger of what you're talking about, is that since people don't know Carrier, Train, Goodman, like all of the different brands, and then someone else white labels it, let's say from a heating and air conditioning company that's well known, that's a national brand, they could be paying like the premium dollar for something that isn't actually premium equipment. and it's not high efficiency. They're paying for high efficiency, but they're not receiving high efficiency. There's so many ways in which the consumer ends up the loser in this scenario, unless they have somebody who is actually looking out for them.
Yeah. No, for sure. A trained eye is everything with this stuff. I mean, there's so many different ways that they can really hide basically the hidden problems with their proposal. It's funny when I was back in sales and I had a sales team that was underneath me, and it was common that, if you were one of the last people out giving a proposal and they've had 3 or 4 proposals, these people would be so confused that they would give the salesman the other people's proposals and say, "Can you just tell me, like, is yours better than these two, or what the difference is?" And they were having the salesperson do the analysis for them. And this is where I was just like, man, these people really need an unbiased, somebody with a trained eye that's not here trying to sell them air conditioning, analyzing their proposals. And what I was finding is that these people were just so fed up with the process, and they were so confused that they basically waved the white flag and said, "Here, you tell me, is yours better than theirs, and why? Because I'm frankly confused," or even they may be acting like they're not confused and they want me to look at the other proposals. And any trained salesperson can work themselves through that and point out the value of your proposal that's different from their proposal in order to, win over the client at that point. So that what it is people don't know what they don't know, and that's why we're here. We're here to bring them into the know and help them to make sure that they're making a good decision, and have, somebody that doesn't have any interest in picking one or the other contractor other than what's better for them, what's better for our client. There is endless amounts of areas where people can basically hide a bunch of stuff into their proposal that isn't necessarily as much value as other guys, and having somebody to be able to look through that is so important, and also cutting out the fat.
No, definitely. When you see many proposals like for the same project, it's shocking how different they can look and how many different things they can add and not have. So there's almost never apples to apples comparisons.
Well, not only that, you can see stark differences in price and have almost nothing change in the scope of work or what the person's providing. I mean, and basically the market that we were in, you had certain contractors that would charge $9,000 for this type of system, and then you'd have another contractor that would charge 17 to 18,000 for that exact same system, exact same installation. It's just, hey, look, if you were one of those people that didn't want to get 3 quotes, and that 17 or $18,000 quote came in, and that guy definitely is a smooth talker. He gets probably paid the most out of all of them. Convinced you to go with that system. You're paying $8,000 to $9,000 more for your installation, and you're getting the same thing that you would be getting with the guy that was going to charge you $9,000. That's what people are going to learn, and that's what I think. If you're listening to this, you go get 3 or 4 proposals, and you tell me how different everybody is, and also listen to what they say. They're gonna everyone's gonna have their own opinion of how things should be done, and it's going to do nothing but cause confusion and make you feel uneasy about the decision you're going to make. So bring us in. Let us clear that up, because it's a bunch of salespeople just trying to make a sale. So let us clear that up and comb through the weeds to make sure that we can get some firm foundation.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much, Paul, for this conversation about value and talking about how difficult it is for our customers to actually do that work themselves, and how they can trust us with it and actually be assured, or at least have a great confidence, that they will save money. It's not going to cost them more. They'll end up saving more in the end. It's been a helpful conversation. So thank you so much for joining us. Paul, thank you. Any last words?
Bring us in. Let us show you what we can do.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. Tune in next week. We're going to have an extra special time. We're going to actually take some time to talk about some of the criticism we've received in social media. Look out for that. All right. Thank you for tuning in.